Hey guys and girls, welcome to another Sunday afternoon chat. As Chris and I, who I think she's taking a little nap right now. No, she looked over here at me. She was just resting her eyelids. Chris and I are heading back to the ranch. We've had a great weekend with the kids and the grandkids and the great-grandkids. Big birthday party week. We had birthdays all week long this last week, and we celebrated them all. A big birthday party with Jamie and Sherry, and like I said, all the kids and all the grandkids. Jamie's birthday was the 25th, Chris's was July 27th, and mine is July 28th. So we have 3 people get older that week. We had a massive amount of candles. A massive amount of candles for the 3 of us. We shot a little video, not much video, but a few minutes, maybe might be a 7 or 8 minute video, kind of letting you share a little bit in that celebration. It's always great to make another year, and when we got everything done, the evening was over, I looked over to everybody and I said, okay, everybody, same time, same place, 1 year from now. So that's always nice to look forward to. It's great to have birthdays. Everybody worries about getting old, but that's really what all of us are trying to do, is to get older day by day by day. And we celebrated another year of life, and the next thing we get to celebrate is Chris and I have a wedding anniversary coming up where we changed the front number. That's right, not the back number. We actually changed both numbers. We changed the front and the back number. And so that's going to be December 30th. If she can just put up with me just a couple to 3 more months. I guess what would that be? It'd be about 5 months. Ooh, that might be a big chore on her part. But we celebrate anniversary at the end of December, so that's another thing that we'll be looking forward to. This past week, we did get to go back to the ranch. We've been away from the ranch for a while. Got to spend some time with our deer, and those antlers just seem like they've changed a tremendous amount. They seem like they change day by day, but when you're gone for a few days, my goodness, it's amazing. You go back and you think, are these the same deer? But we got to spend some time with the deer, got to feed some of the deer by hand, and just had a great time. We are involved in the massive heat wave that is enveloping the South. Some people are hollering global warming. I think that somebody was showing some temperatures back in the 1930s, and temperatures were hotter than they are now. But my Ram truck right here says 100 degrees right now, and it's in the middle of the afternoon. It's we just been out of church for a couple hours, so we went and ate with all the kids. I bought them all a big chicken dinner, and we had Sunday afternoon chicken. That's kind of a Baptist deal, isn't it? But we had a great time. The other thing that we got to do this past week was we got to go pick up Benelli. We went down to Texas Duck Dog. Wade Cashin trained Benelli, a tremendous trainer, and she just absolutely did a great job, he said. And I'm telling you, she's really turned into something. She doesn't jump up on us. She still jumps, but she doesn't jump on you. She just jumps up straight up and down. And she's sitting real good, staying on and then not releasing until you give her the command to go fetch. She's just had fetching built into her genetics. She's a natural born fetcher, but she's a smart dog, and she's enjoying the weekend with Benelli and King, Jordyn's dog, and Bella, Sherry's dog, and Jordyn's dog. And she had a lot of fun with them. And now she's going to get to go back to the ranch where she lives, and we'll make sure that we can get her to stay away from those deer, hopefully, and the wild turkeys, and the rattlesnakes. Those are 3 things that we don't want her to get close to. So we'll be working on that. But great to get Benelli back. We'll be having Benelli in quite a few of the videos, and might do a little video if we get a chance late in the evening. We have had several days at the ranch in excess of 103, 104, 105, several days in a row. And it's 100 here now, but we're still 175, 170 miles or so from the ranch, and that's pretty much south, so it might be a little bit warmer down there. But, I got to thinking about all of this they're talking about. I heard somebody, one of those climate activists the other day, that's trying to, collect as much money as they can and get, because they say we're changing the climate. I can remember back when I was in college, and I graduated from college in 1966, so that's a long time ago. And they were saying that the world was going to end because of spray bottles. That's right. That was when spray bottles was kind of a new thing. We started getting deodorant. We started getting insect repellent. We started getting PAM, magic spray on your pans to keep your stuff from sticking when you're cooking them, and on gas stoves, by the way, and all these spray cans. And they said that the spray cans was going to destroy the ozone layer around the earth in probably less than 20 years. and we would all be killed because of that. That ozone level, we'd be killed because of that. And so that means that somewhere in the mid to late 80s, we should have all been dead. And by the way, most of you probably are not even born before the mid 80s. You get into 1980, somebody that's born in 1980 is 43 years old right now. So there's a lot of people, that world was supposed to be gone before you were ever born. And I remember Al Gore in the 80s talking about the climate and what we need to do and how we need to change the way we live and get rid of cars and get rid of gas stoves and all this kind of stuff. And I think, I don't know, for the last 20 or 30 years, they talking about getting rid of cows. And when Al Gore was talking about that, that's been about 40 years ago. And we're still here. I remember some of the politicians talking about 5 years the earth would be gone, and now they've been elected to their second or third or fourth term in Congress, and the world is still here. So I think man is a little egotistical if he thinks that he can change the climate of this earth. I know that mankind has rejected God in a lot of ways. I think the ultimate rejection is the trans movement that evidently is gaining a lot of momentum here in this country. They're trying to change little boys and little girls over to opposite sexes in school nowadays, and I never thought I'd ever see that. And people say that, well, it doesn't affect you, Jimmy. Well, it doesn't, but I have grandkids that go to school, and I certainly don't want to take any of the little girls and try to make boys out of them and disfiguring their bodies, and I don't want to see any of the little boys have to turn into girls. I want them to accept whatever God made them. God made them perfect. God made them perfect, and he made them either a boy or a girl. And all of the people that are behind the trans movement are just, that's the ultimate rejection of God, to tell God that you made me wrong. You made me wrong. You made me the wrong sex. And I'm not going to get on a bandwagon about that, but as I think about all of the things that's happened in my lifetime and what's happened and how the world was supposed to end in 5 years or 10 years, and now here I've lived another year, and next year I get to change the front number when I have a birthday next year, and I'm sure that they'll be doing all kinds of things. And we got all these ugly windmills blowing around the country and running up the price of electricity, and we're buying gasoline now that's $1.50 higher than it was when our current president got elected, because of all of the moves we moved to green energy, clean energy. There's nothing wrong with doing a lot of that. I think a lot of that's good, but it's got to be done when we can make it work in this country, and when we can make it work in conjunction with everything else that we make work. And we just seem to have a government now that wants to put us all into the poorhouse and make everybody dependent upon the government. And quite honestly, I want to be dependent on these two hands and this little feeble brain up here. I want to go out and make a living for my family. I don't want the government taking care of me. But we just seem to have a growing number of people that are satisfied with being poor as long as the government's taking care of them. And they call that socialism, they call it communism, they call it progressivism, whatever you want to call it. But I sure like America the way that I've had it all of my life. And I'm hoping that it'll be the same for the next 15 or 20 years or 30 years, however much longer I've got to hang around on here before I go to a place called heaven, But we got our dog back. It was a good week this last week. The big thing we have coming this coming week, and the big event we have coming, is First Baptist Church Conroe. If you are anywhere around within an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours of First Baptist Church Conroe, if you don't know where Conroe, Texas is, it's north of Houston, Texas. It's just north of Houston. It's a great, beautiful community. Lake Conroe is there, a tremendous lake. A lot of big tournaments have been held on Lake Conroe over the years. That's where the famous Ricky Clunn, my buddy Ricky Clunn, one of the greatest bass fishermen, many people think the greatest bass fisherman of all time, resided and was from for a long time. It's where Ricky learned how to catch fish and become the great tournament fisherman that he is. And Ricky Clunn is the same age as my wife Chris, a little bit younger than me, not a whole lot, but a little bit, and still fishing national bass tournaments, and I pull for him every single tournament. I actually pull for Ricky every single tournament back when I was competing against him, because he was a friend, and a lot of people that I pull for in every tournament. I was trying to beat them, but I was trying to just catch more fish than they were. I wasn't necessarily trying to catch them, or not necessarily catch more, catch bigger ones is what we were trying to do. But I pulled for Ricky Clunn in every single tournament. And he won a tournament 2 or 3 years ago, and I wouldn't be a bit surprised if he doesn't win another one or two. He's just that great a fisherman. But we'll be going down to Conroe, Texas. First Baptist Church, Conroe, is having their, I believe, 20th annual Sportsman's Banquet. 20th annual. I attended one of those 5 or 6 or 7 years ago, and it's an absolutely great event. I don't know if the event is sold out or not. I don't even know what the tickets cost. If there is a cost, probably is. Most of these events now have some cost to help cover the cost of the food. But it's a great event. We have quite a few churches on the schedule. That's the very next one that comes up is next Thursday evening, Conroe, Texas. Those of you that want to say hi to Chris, I'm going to take Chris and Benelli. I'll have both my girls at that event. It's about as close for me to drive down to Conroe, maybe an hour or two further, than it is to drive over to Sherry's house, and then I'm that much further away from Conroe, Texas. So I'll be taking Chris. Chris went with me to First Baptist Carnegie. She also went to Crooked Oak with me, and she's gone to several churches around with me, as has Benelli. And now we've got Benelli back. We're going to take Benelli to that event also. So it's going to be a tremendous event. They'll have door prizes. They'll have raffle tickets. They'll have tremendous food. And I'll be speaking there that evening. You come and say hi to Chris. Many of you prayed for Chris, and you've kept her alive. Your prayers to God has kept her alive. You know, that doctor said she would never leave that hospital alive, most likely. Well, likely she will. He said she would never go back to the ranch. That wasn't even a probably. She would never go back to the ranch. She'd have to live in a nursing home under 24-hour care, and she lives with me at the ranch. It's exactly what she does, and she loves that ranch and goes outside and feeds the deer and goes down on the dock on the lake and out on the deck and just has a great time out there. And oh, by the way, while I've been talking, it's risen to 102 degrees. So it's really, really hot. I think we've got about another 7 or 8 days of 100-degree plus. And then about this time next weekend, we're supposed to have a little bit of cooler weather come. And actually, the following week, they said a little chance for rain every single day. We've had good rain in July, but it all happened the first 10 days or so. We haven't had any rain lately in July. I think the last it rained in Oklahoma was probably somewhere around the 10th to the 15th. I don't know exactly. But we were gone when we got the nice rains at our ranch, 3.9 and 2.3. I remember what they were. That's 6.2 inches, and it was a great rain. And but our lakes have gone down quite a bit since then. Canyon Lake is maybe up big enough to use the ramp. If it's not, it's close. And but evaporation is big. It's heavy when you're having these 103 to 105 degree days, and so even with rain, you're going to have quite a bit of evaporation. And without the rain, like we've been having, the evaporation is going to be significant every single day. Every single day, you're going to lose water levels. So the lakes are going down in Texas. I talked to some of my friends down there, and a lot of the lakes are low in Texas. I know y'all need rain down there, and it's coming. There's a little bit more rain on the way in another week or so. So, but the big event next week, Conroe, Texas. The rest of the week we're going to be at the ranch, enjoying the ranch and enjoying the hot weather. We'll be staying in the house most of the day. We do have our air conditioning fixed. I haven't got my bill from them yet. I want to make sure I get my 20% discount they told me that I would get. We'll see how that works out. The air conditioner is working good. The young men that came and put it in did a great job. They worked hard, took them all day long, 3 of them. But they got the air conditioning unit in, and it worked well. Those boys did a really good job, and really, really happy about that. We'll go home, and I've got the air conditioner turned up while we're going, but it won't take it long to cool that house back down, I hope. So anyway, guys and girls, go out there and have you a great one. It's going to be a great week, and can I encourage you this week to be an encourager? You know, I couldn't help but think as I watched some of those hearings on television in Congress when they had some of those young men and young women that were pretty much forced into or encouraged to change their sex in school. And for the ones that were testifying up there, most of them were testifying that it ruined their lives. And I couldn't help but think, and a lot of them were 10, 11, 12 years old, even younger, some of them, when they're doing that. And they're teachers and people, school administrators, trying to get them to change their sex to the opposite sex. And I just wonder how many of those kids, if they had someone encouraging them every day to be the best that they could, how many of them would have probably fought that off? If how many of them probably would have not had those things done to their bodies and taking the medicines that change their bodies around, and now are looking to themselves. I heard one young girl that they were trying to make her into a boy, and they operated on her and gave her testosterone and all kinds of stuff. And she said and she's a beautiful girl, with long hair, beautiful girl. And she said when she looks at herself in the mirror, she sees a monster. And I just wonder if that girl, when she was at that young age, whenever that all started in school, if she had just had someone encourage her every day. She had someone telling her how pretty she was. If she had someone telling her how smart she was, how she was going to be successful, what all she was going to do in life. She was going to change the world. And I just encourage all of you to be an encourager. We have so many people in our lives that are telling us bad things. And Holly, I know a lot of people don't even watch the news anymore because of stuff just like that's on there. And the news is kind of disheartening when you watch it, and all we see crime everywhere. We see all kinds of problems. We see politicians that are, golly, a great percentage of them. I don't know all of them are, but pretty much all of them are criminals themselves. And it's just, I don't know. We keep hearing all the bad stuff that's going on in this world, and I think individually that collectively that had an effect on all of us, but individually it can cause a person to make some awful bad choices, especially in their younger years. Everything that happens when you're 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 years old is monumental. That's why there's so many suicides in teenagers, is because the things that happen are monumental to them. They think it's a life-changing, life-altering event. It might be something that you just got a bad grade on your report card, or your boyfriend left you, or your girlfriend left you, or you saw somebody else kissing your girlfriend and you knew you'd lost her, on and on and on. So many things. It might be you failed your driver's test, 16 years old, and you think the whole world's come to an end because you failed your driver's test. We need to be encouraging those kids. We need to be building them up every chance we get. We can't let them get away with murder. We can't let them do a lot of the bad things that kids are involved in this day. How many kids would stay off of drugs if they just had people that loved them so much that they were encouraging them all the time? They wasn't bringing out their faults, and they wasn't badgering them and beating them up all the time for some of the bad things they were doing. They'd be looking for the positive things they did in life. And we can encourage kids and help them make the right decision, because if they're being encouraged, if they think they're worth something, and they're worth a lot, if they think they might change the world as they live their life, and I guarantee you they're going to change it for somebody as they live their life. They're going to do that, and they're going to change it for many people, usually for the better. And so if we can, we need to tell the kids that. We need to tell people that. We need to tell our friends that. We need to tell our husband or our wife that. We need to be encouraging them in everything we do, and faults that they have, whatever faults they might be, we need to overlook them and encourage them. Golly, how would your husband feel if you didn't do anything this week but encourage him all week long? Encourage him every single day. Not talk about the fact that the grass is 2 foot tall out in the yard, or that the barn still needs painting. Encourage him in everything that he does. How would your wife be? What kind of a woman would she become if you encouraged her all week long? If you didn't talk about anything she did that irritated you or upset you, you just encouraged them. So I want to encourage everyone this week to be an encourager. You can be an encourager. You can change a teenager's life. You can change a 10 or 11-year-old's life. You can change a 7-year-old's life. You can change a 57-year-old's life just by being an encourager. Not a nagger, but an encourager. Not a complainer, but an encourager. Instead of tearing people down, we build them up. We build them up, and we build them up to a plateau that they want to achieve. And they'll work hard to achieve and become that kind of person that we're telling them they are. Guys and girls, go out there and have you a great one this week. And remember, I sure do love you.